Today I'm going to explain to you how to make cranberry sauce. It's pretty easy. If you can boil water and stir some fruit around, you can make cranberry sauce. And this will have no relation to the bitter, gross cranberry sauce I grew up with or the stuff in a can. Cranberries are full of vitamins and nutrients like antioxidants, and they are just basically good for you. Cranberries that are fresh look beautiful, but they are not good eats. You can't just pop one in your mouth and eat it. They're very tart and bitter, kind of like bitter cherries. You do have to cook them and either put them into a sauce or like baked goods, dried cranberry muffins, that kind of thing. My experience actually making cranberry sauce started a year ago when I went cranberry picking. I took a trip up through New England for the fall, and we went to a lovely pick-your-own cranberry farm. And it's a small-scale one, so they don't flood your fields like you might think of the cranberry juice commercials where it's full of water. They have a machine that combs through, or you can hand pick. And they only grow, it's a low-growing shrub, kind of vine. So it was a lot of fun, and it was pretty easy. And they come in various shades of dark cranberry, light cranberry, kind of white. The color doesn't represent the ripeness. They are available in your grocery stores a month or so before Thanksgiving and up through Christmas, and then you really won't see them. But if you are lucky enough to live up in the north, like Wisconsin, Minnesota, Vermont, Maine, where you have farms or farmers market, definitely get the fresh ones. They taste the best. The bagged ones you buy in the store, if you refrigerate them, are good for 1 month up to 3 months. So they are pretty hardy. Your first task is to sort the cranberries and check that none of them have gone bad. Cranberries should feel firm, almost kind of like a rock. If they are sticky or squishy or shriveled up and feel like grapes, then they are past their prime and had to be thrown out. Do not skip this step. It is extremely important. At least there is no pit or anything to remove, so they're somewhat easier than cherries. So let's get started. I will put all the ingredients in the description bar. That little tub are the bad ones, which have been thrown out. The rest have gone straight into a pot with a few inches of water, and we'll bring that up to a boil. The first thing you need to do is add your spices. I'm using a pumpkin pie spice, which is a mix of cinnamon and cloves and ginger. Be sure to check your spice that it doesn't have too much cloves. You want mostly a cinnamon flavor. And stir that in. Once your water comes up to a boil, you'll start hearing a popping. Sounds like popcorn. That is the skins bursting as the berry expands. At this point, you want to turn off your heat, and it will continue cooking on its own. You'll want to add a pinch of salt and a generous amount of sugar up to your taste. I use brown sugar. You can use white sugar or honey. Give that a stir until the sugar is dissolved. Now that they are pretty much cooked, we are going to mash them. You can use a fork or a ladle. I happen to be using the bit from a mortar and pestle, and you will hear them make a little popping sound. If it is too liquidy, you can add about half a teaspoon or so of cornstarch and stir that in. Be careful not to use too much, and remember, as it cools, it will thicken more. You may be tempted to simply simmer off the liquid. Don't do that. That will lead to a grainy, mushy, overcooked cranberry. At this point, I put in a couple teaspoons of vanilla, and as an optional bit, you can add some rum, port, or red wine. If you're concerned about the alcohol, then add that sooner in, and it will evaporate away. I'm using half a tablespoon, so I'm not particularly concerned. Give it a taste test to make sure it doesn't need more sugar or cinnamon, and then pour it into a bowl, or in my case, I'm going to use a mason jar. But I wanted to show you how much one bag for me made. I keep mine like jelly in the refrigerator. If you wanted to go through the canning process, you would want to cook it less in the pan so that when it boils, it doesn't overcook during the canning process. You can use it just like jelly. I put mine on toast. You can add it to oatmeal. You can use it in frostings and muffins, all sorts of things. These do make lovely Christmas gifts and are quite delicious and a beautiful color.